This is the most depressed I've ever seen devs look while marketing their game.
And it was really great to hear a lot of the feedback, especially from those who played the game, and sort of get a sense of where everyone was attaching to certain things and where they didn't see as much. There's a wide variety of opinions that sort of came about.
And for good reason. Bungie's upcoming extraction shooter that nobody asked for and is wearing the detached face of Marathon's rotting corpse was revealed to the world with all of the fanfare of a suppressed cough. And after this week's allegations of plagiarism, may even be due for a dramatic overhaul, if not an outright cancellation, of Marathon as it exists right now, anyway. But the time for giving Bungie feedback is over. We told them we don't want just an extraction shooter. Ignored. We told them making it a hero shooter limits customization. Ignored. We told them we want a solo-only mode. Ignored. We told them that an extraction shooter that's too casual is not sustainable. Ignored. We told them we want to see them double down on more of their PvE experiences. Ignored. We told them there's too much free-to-play competition to be charging a premium price. Definitely ignored. So no, this video isn't about feedback. Instead, this video is a warning. One final warning that if they continue to invest in a game people don't want, ignore the criticisms of the very people who they want to buy their product, and keep giving people reasons to despise them as a company, Marathon will be just another failure to add to Sony's Concord tab. This is our final warning to you, Bungie, to stop being your own worst enemy and stop taking your community for granted. If you don't know what I mean, don't worry. I brought receipts. If you turn to page 394 of your Kingard's Book of All Things Obvious, you'll see that when a company gets repeatedly accused of plagiarizing other people's art again and again and again, it starts to look like that quacking that we're hearing is indeed coming from a duck. Fan art ripped off for a Destiny 2 cutscene, more fan art ripped off for an Ace of Spades Nerf blaster, and even more fan art ripped off for a Destiny trailer, all of which reportedly ended with Bungie admitting to the plagiarism and contacting the original artists to talk about compensation. Except one. A writer accusing Bungie of stealing their ideas for Destiny 2's Red War campaign, which Bungie has opted to defend itself from and has submitted a motion to dismiss the whole thing to the court. Which, if you recall, Red War is one of several pieces of Destiny 2 content that Bungie vaulted, removing paying customers of the ability to play it anymore. It's like Bungie is always desperately looking for another way to make people hate them. Bungie couldn't even submit their own current footage of the campaign to the court, instead using YouTube videos as evidence. And in an absolute gangster move that should be applauded by millions and win this judge a guaranteed trip to the Consumer Protection Hall of Fame, the judge said, "No, we're not dismissing this case. I won't accept YouTube videos as evidence. You shouldn't have removed the content from the game if you wanted to use it as a defense." To which I'm like, good, reap what you sow, you Bungie dirtbags. I can't wait for digital goods and their BS terms of service saying that we have no rights to any of it to get regulated to the teeth. And I'll be more than happy to see it start with removing content people have paid for from a game. And as for the newest chapter in the Bungie sucks eggs saga, color me shocked if we don't have yet again an independent artist accusing Bungie of copying their work, this time for art decals and Marathon. You know, the game with its only remotely unique quality being its art style. What actually does shock me though is how fast Bungie admitted to it and actually had the gall not to cancel their live stream the next day. For some reason. I mean, these guys were just slabs of meat Bungie threw out to the wolves to soak up every ounce of still very hot plagiarism allegations. The chat roasted them alive and they just had to sit there and take it. Does that look like the face of a man who wants to be there to you?
No way. We got you. Not a chance.
Bungie's statement on the whole thing is that it was a former artist contracted to do some work on Marathon that must have copied the artist's designs for a texture sheet that was then used for assets during development. Oh, see, they couldn't have known, right? It was just one measly little worker. It's not like the art director has tabs on any of that.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Unfortunately for Bungie, what cooks that narrative is that the lead art director of Marathon follows that very same independent artist on Twitter, along with some others from Bungie, and has done so since well before these allegations ever went public. Twitter is where this person has posted their art on several occasions over the years. And sure, the director may not be well acquainted with every post from everyone they follow on Twitter, but come on, what are the odds? Plus, is the "it was just an employee" argument really supposed to win us over when this seems to happen on an almost annual basis with Bungie? Again, quack quack, you'd be forgiven for assuming this is a duck. But can't this be as simple as Bungie just replacing the texture assets with new ones before the game drops? Well, sure, maybe, if they can retain enough workers through the reportedly crippling morale over there at Bungie HQ, that is. And I feel for the folks working there that are just doing their jobs and had nothing to do with this, but pity for workers is never going to be enough to obligate people to purchase a product they don't want to support from a company they don't want to support. The plagiarism allegations were just icing on the cake. The sugar, flour, and eggs of this succulent treat of comeuppance is the overwhelmingly apathetic response to Marathon even before this controversy ever happened. And I know many people didn't agree with me back when I said this game looked like it had no reason to exist and no outlying qualities from its competitors other than, ooh, bright colors. But over time, I think the veil of recency bias has started to be lifted from people's eyes to expose the mediocrity cowering behind it. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe people would flock to an abomination of features lifted from Destiny, Tarkov, and Apex if it were free.
Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Returning viewers know me, I'm the last person to defend free-to-play games that are psychologically tuned to keep you playing with FOMO and skill-based matchmaking, but you know what I hate more than that? Premium games with the monetization of free ones. So let me get this straight. We're getting the name of a series it looks nothing like, the gameplay of several games already available to us right now, an extraction shooter only game, despite that just being one of many modes in other titles, Bungie's strengths of lore and PvE content being demoted to it's there, I guess, a premium game in a sea of free-to-play or already existing competitors, and if the history of Destiny 2 is anything to go by, probably your standard battle passes, skins, and whatever slop the consumer piggies still lap up with glee to make sure the rest of us never get to have satisfying progression without having to pay extra for it, but hey, did you see the colors? Pretty bright. Am I missing anything here? It's like Bungie wants itself to fail. Marathon's failure to understand what players want is illustrated no better than by the fact that all of its trailers consist of dead bodies resting solemnly on a battlefield, only for the game itself to turn players into bags of loot when they die. There are no bodies, this is a lie, I hate cinematic trailers.
It's all bullshit. All of it.
Feel free to watch my video on that, by the way. It didn't do so hot, and Doom the Dark Ages did end up being pretty dang different, but I still stand by the central message of it. Bungie.
I did nothing wrong. Jesus.
You have got to delay Marathon. I know Sony bought you for $3.6 billion and is itching for a boom in return on that investment, but launching Marathon 4 months from now is not gonna do it. You guys made the bed of focusing on live service that needs sales over time to be profitable instead of just initial sales. Now you get to lie in it. Marathon has to convince people to play it long-term to succeed, and without Bungie giving us any reason to do so, except maybe to witness another AAA disaster of Concordian proportions again, it won't happen. People don't want a repetitive loop of things we've seen before. We want meaningful progression and a unique gameplay loop, not Destiny 2's $40 extraction DLC with less features. If Bungie doesn't change course on this and do something to win people over from other games like the upcoming Arc Raiders, it's never going to shake the hilariously given, definitely earned moniker Art Raiders. Put more emphasis on lore and PvE. You're Bungie, you know how. Replace the stolen art or compensate the artist. Don't you dare launch without a solo playlist like you currently plan to do. Expand the game so the extraction shooter is just one mode, or add more narrative elements and upgrade your challenges to larger experiences. More people are finally getting tired of copy and paste, bare bones AAA launch states. Gone are the days of patience and benefit of the doubt. Gamers' backlogs are only getting bigger and competition is fierce. Week 1 means more now than it ever has before, and if Marathon looks no different from what's been marketed to us thus far, well, Bungie, prepare for another round of layoffs, I guess, if they even make it to launch before that happens. But patterns of mediocrity and maybe even potentially criminal allegations in gaming are not limited to Bungie or AAA in general. I'm working on a big video right now that I'll put right here when it's finished. If it's not there yet, consider subscribing if you want to be notified when it comes. As always, thanks for watching. Carry on, you kings.